All right, guys, I don't think anyone's waiting right now, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to Moving to Mexico Monday. I think that I recognize a lot of faces on here, but if you don't know me, I'm Kim Temple, and I'm here with my partner, Gabriela Ortega, who's in another chat window. And we own Runaway Realty in Puerto Morelos, Mexico, best beach town in the Riviera Maya and the whole world, according to us. And we host this Moving to Mexico Monday program. Started as a live program that we did during high season every Monday night on a beautiful rooftop at La Serena. Because of COVID, we took it online and found out we actually like it better online because we get to meet you and we also get to dive deeper into a lot of topics that are really of importance to people who are thinking of moving here. And we really focus mostly on, although it's called Moving to Mexico Monday, we focus mostly on moving to Puerto Morelos. And so tonight we're super excited. This is the first of its kind. Tonight we are going to be introducing you to a project that's being developed here in Puerto Morelos called Villas Maple. And we're excited about this. It's a whole new thing for us. And, you know, kind of our reasoning for focusing on one particular development, and we'll probably do more of these, is that we think this development in particular offers something that many of our clients have been asking us for over the years. And anytime there's a new kind of, I don't know how to say it, like a new kind of offering, we want to make sure that our clients know about it, especially something like this, which you have been asking us for. So let some people in. We are, hi, Hannah Rosa.
Hey, hello.
Hi.
Thank you.
Welcome.
We're hitting Leslie's behind, so I'll.
Okay. Hello. We're just getting started. Hello. So we just said that we're going to get started. If you can mute your microphone and then use the chat box for questions, that would be awesome. All right. So Villas Maple is a project that's in development here, and why we're so excited about it is that if any of you have been looking with us, and many of you have, you know that it's very expensive to buy in the Seaside Village. Prices are kind of outrageous and there's not much inventory at all. The gated communities are amazing. It took me forever to, you know, force people to look at those gated communities, but now that they're being more developed, people are very interested in them, but the lot sizes are very small. In the Seaside Village, the typical lot size is 300 square meters. In those gated communities along the highway, they're about 160 square meters. So they're much smaller than what you would see in the Seaside Village, and kind of smaller than most of us are used to. They're very narrow and deep. But those communities are fabulous. Punta Arena, Punta Vista, Regatta, all have something amazing to offer. And many people have built and lived there, including our guest, Andy, but I'll let him talk about that in a minute. But what Andy and his team have developed is a gated community concept, which is on the other side of the highway, but is going to offer much larger lots, 575 square meters and 700 square meters. So for much less money, basically. I'm gonna let him tell you all the details, but we kind of, our ears perked up when we heard about this because this is something people have been asking us for. Maybe you don't want to have stairs and it's just kind of impossible to build a one-level house in the gated communities on those tiny lots. So, or people want more land, they want to have a garden, they want to have a pool, they want to have a garage, they want to have off-street parking. So we were very excited when we heard about this. And we're excited that Andy gave us the opportunity to present it to our clients kind of exclusively first, so that you would have a chance to learn about it. And maybe if you decide that it's something that you're interested in, hop on the train and get a lot. As with anything that is pre-construction, there's some risk involved. And I don't want to downplay that. I want to explain why we think it's a good project. And Andy's going to tell you why he thinks it's a good project. But, you know, I've worked with many of you and you know that we're not high pressure salespeople. We just want to give you this information. We think that you would really benefit from learning about it and kind of being in on the first wave of interest, because Puerto Morelos is growing and that's the direction that it's growing. So this gives you a chance to be close to the beach with a lot of land. And I don't want to talk much because Andy has a great presentation coming, but I want to introduce Andy. On my screen, he's in the top left corner, Andy Wanshoff, who is
everybody.
A nice Canadian fellow. And he's here with his team member, Victor, is Victor still, oh, there's Victor. And Nancy, his attorney, Nancy Soberanes. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And I've lost Nancy on my screen. Nancy is the legal advisor for Vias Maple, and she's here to answer legal questions and just be on call if we have any questions about stuff like that. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Andy and let Andy take the stage.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Kim, and thank you to all who decided that this was something you wanted to learn more about. I have to say it's kind of humbling. I'm just an ordinary guy. I'm not a developer, and I'm not gonna allow myself to be called that. I'm a team builder, and this is I'm building a community here. I'll be honest, it's for selfish reasons. I want this. I'm one of those people that Kim's been talking about. I live in Puerto Morelos, one of the gated communities here that's highly sought after. And I'm fortunate enough to have a business partner, and I own several properties in another gated community. I thought it was the best place to invest my money when I retired from being a golf professional. I was a golf professional in British Columbia for 35 years, and I have lifetime status on the PGA of Canada, or with the PGA of Canada. I'm proud of my years as a golf professional, so proud that Paul will tell you, I still have one student who's playing currently on the PGA Tour. His name is Roger Sloan, and he's my students going to be golf professionals. So my career as a golf professional was great, but in 2015, I retired from that, and I moved to Porto. But before that, I was in British Columbia as a golf pro. And if you know anything about, is anybody here from British Columbia? Anybody from Canada? A few Canadians there. Okay, welcome. Oh, Canada. Well, British Columbia, northern British Columbia, where I was, a small town called 100 Mile House. It's near kind of Prince George. I worked in Merritt, Salmon Arm. Those are all small towns, and I'm a small town person. And I had 35 years, like I said, and mostly evenly distributed amongst those towns. And you get the winter off, 6 months off. So after my first season of being a golf pro in 1982, I looked at how much money I had, and I looked at the snow starting to fall, and I got out of there and I went to Mexico. Well, you know, at 18, you didn't save a lot of money in that first year, and I only got to come for a certain amount of time. I think it was around 6 weeks. But the next year I went back and I worked my butt off and I saved, and I've been coming to Mexico ever since I was 18 years old. I've not missed. I've raised my family. My wife and I raised our family through coming to Mexico in the winter because we just didn't want to endure the long winters in northern British Columbia. And so during that time, we tried to find out where we wanted to live. And in 1997, we bought a condominium in Playa del Carmen because that was absolutely the best place to live, bar none. How could you say anything different? Well, things change. If anybody knows Playa del Carmen, you'll know that, oh my gosh, that has changed. When I moved there, I bought a condominium on a 3rd floor. On the 1st floor was a dive company called Scuba 10, it's still there, and a tour company called Yucatrex. And Mitch just recently moved back to Canada during COVID, and those two companies were on the bottom floor. The 2nd floor was a law firm, IUS Riviera Consulting, run by Nancy Soberanes. 18 years ago, I moved above her on the top floor, on the 3rd floor. So I passed Nancy in the hallway all the time, and chitty chatted. We became good friends. She helped me buy my first property. And then from there, during the time I was here for 6 months and not working, well, I'm a chatty kind of guy. I spent a lot of time at the beach, in a blue chair, and I was known as the guy in the blue chair, and I dispensed information. Playa was growing rapidly, and I knew some of the newer cenotes, some of the new theme parks. I was around when Shellha, Escaret, and all those came on board, and I loved interacting with people and helping people. My family started coming down. We made this a home, but damn it, Playa grew. It grew so much, so fast that we didn't love it anymore. And so we went looking for a next best place. And this time we weren't going to make any mistakes. And it was going to be our forever home. And well, we didn't actually have to look far. I am 100% in agreement with Kim. Puerto Morelos it's the best fishing village, portside beach town in the Mayan Riviera. We love it. And so we built this house. This house is in Punta Arena, and it's on a lot that's 160 square meters, 8 meters by 20. Or if you like the imperial system, which I do, it's 25 feet by 63 feet. That's it. So I have a ground floor down there, 2 floors down for my mom and dad. It's ground floor, and they come and they stay on the ground floor. Then the second floor is identical to this floor. If you're a little bit intoxicated, you can't even tell which floor you're on. They're identical. And that's when my daughter comes, or our oldest son comes, or my youngest sister, she comes often, and she's on the second floor, and then my wife and I are on the top floor. That's how our family lives in this house. Now, when it's just my wife and I, well, it's amazing. We have a great view. We have a great location. We so love Punta Arena. We started to think that Regatta was also a good subdivision, and we did some investing there. And I had a partner come on board in 2015 and say, let's build some houses. I said, Earl, I really don't know how to build a house. He said, with all the contacts you've made in all these years, you're going to find a good contractor. I did. I found a company called Kamasa. I now wear a shirt that has Kamasa and IUS on it. We started a company called Your Life in Mexico. And Kamasa has built this house, 3 more luxury homes, I could say. One of them has a 66-foot swimming pool on the roof. Kim's been in that house. The other 2 have big rooftop swimming pools and elevators. And these were the best homes we could build on the lots that we had, that people starting to get a little bit into their retirement years, maybe with a few bucks, wanted the best house they could have. The elevator came, the pool, but there was no yard. There is no yard. And so while we built those houses, from those houses came a lot more Canadians and Americans saying, oh, we like what you're doing. And our business has expanded. A few years ago, I decided that we would actually open an office because I was bored after I retired from being a golf pro. I got bored and I wanted to open an office and do what I was doing in the blue chair. I asked Kim 2 years ago if she would come on board with the office, but she wasn't really knowing me or anything, and that was fine. So we have an attorney service with Nancy. We have the construction company, and we also offer immigration services and some other stuff that's not germane to this conversation. So with that, along came Victor. One day he walked in and he said, hey, I want to show you this piece of land. I went over, took a look at the piece of land, and suddenly it just came to me. This piece of land was our next move. I never thought we were going to move, but it's our next move. I looked at the piece of land, and it's directly across behind another development. I think it's okay if I say the name, Selva Escondidas. And if you look at Selva Escondidas, you'll see that it has 5 streets. It has a street at the back, and then some houses, and then a street and some houses, a street, some houses, street, some houses. So it's 5 streets, 4 rows of houses. And it's exactly the same width as Via's map lay. And while I was standing there with Victor, I looked at that piece of land and I said, Victor, I'm not going to help you sell this piece of land, because he thought maybe I would know some clients who were interested. I'm going to buy this piece of land. I'm going to get my team together. We're going to buy this piece of land, and we're going to build one road right down the middle. And if we did that, how big would the lots be? And Victor went south, or I guess he went west, and I went east, and we each got to around 50 paces. And we went, holy cow, that we could have a 50 50 yards, meters, lot. So of course, by the time we took an urban development, it's not exactly that size, but it's big. It's 17 meters wide by 42 meters long, or in English, it's 155 feet long and 55 feet wide. And the smaller lots, we are 45 feet wide by the same 38 feet or something long. So they're quite big, quite big. And I just came home and I told my wife, guess what we're doing next? And she's like, wow, this could be cool. So, well, we started making a plan. Again, I'd have to go on for hours if you wanted to know any more about me, and it's not about me, but a little bit it is, and I'm sorry about that. But I'm a lateral thinker. I do things differently. I'm not in the box, and I try to make the people around me better, and I try to let the people around me make me better. I'm a team player, and I'm certainly not a developer. I'm not even going to try to tell you I'm a developer. I just went and hired the best development team. I hired people with all the best experience in the area, ones who are responsible for making Playa grow, ones that were responsible for currently helping with the developments that are happening right here in Puerto Morelos. And then, well, my attorney, Nancy, who's been part of several developments, including one very large one that's currently happening here that I'm not going to name, but she has several developments to her credit. And I have this team that is supporting my dream. So there was this land. We approached the owner and we said, we want to buy the land, and I want to buy it in a certain way. I pitched the idea to the owner and he's like, yeah, we could do that. We could do exactly that. And my legal representative was there, his legal representative was there, and says, yep, we can draw that out. We can make that happen. So our team went to work and we came up with Vias Maple. Now, when I say I'm building a community, I want to show you what I mean in terms of numbers, okay? Vias Maple is 575 square meters for the small lots and 700 square meters for the big lots. I don't know if you can see this or not. Can anybody see, can we see it, Kim?
I don't think we can unless we enlarge, okay. Unless you put your grid on speaker view, guys, then you'll see what he's holding up.
Anyway, the point is there, this is all available. So it's fine, and you got a pen and paper, 575 or 573 to be exact, for 1,150,000 pesos, works out to $100 per square meter. That's how land is evaluated here. And the big lots is 700 square meters for $1,450,000, or $101 or $102 per square meter. So
sorry, Andy, too fast.
Okay.
573 square meters for the small lot at how many pesos?
1,150,000.
And the bigger lot, 700 and something square meters?
For 1,450,000. That's friends and family pricing for Kim's group.
Yeah, can you tell me the square meters for the large lot, please?
700 for 1,450,000.
700, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So both of those work out to just over 2,000 pesos per square meter, or just right around $100 US. Okay. Now that might not mean anything to you. It doesn't really mean anything to me as a Canadian consumer. That's not how we purchase land, but it is how it's purchased down here. So then we say, okay, well, if that's that, what happens in Punta Reina or Regatta, some of the gated subdivisions? Well, Punta Reina, all the lots are 160 square meters. That's it, more or less all. There's a few corner ones or whatever, but they're 160 square meters. And they're selling for, and Kim will back me up, she's the realtor, not me. They're selling for about 5,300 pesos per square meter, or $265 per square meter. And those are the least desirable ones. Those are the interior ones, the ones not so popular. But very nice lots, very nice subdivision. I gotta say good things because I got lots of money tied up in Regatta and Punta Reina. But it was the best place to invest until this project came along. And this is just my opinion. And then you have Punta Reina, the most desirable ones, the very, very most desirable ones. And they are about 1,200,000 pesos for 160 square meters, or $375 US per square meter, almost 4 times as much. So only a fool would sell this at that price. Well, I'm not a fool, but I am a team builder. So I went to my friends and family and I said, hey guys, do you want in on this? And I was expecting a certain number, maybe around 8 to 10, and I got a lot more than that. And suddenly it blew up, and well, 60% sold out already. And I was like, okay, this is fantastic. But I need professional help now, because I've talked to my friends and family, and I'm not a realtor. And I went back to Kim and Gabrielle, who I touched base with a couple of years ago, and I said, would you do this? Would you help me sell Via's Maply? And they said, well, let's take a look at it. So they did their homework. They looked at all of our papers. They came on site. They checked our crew out. Both of them have heard a little bit about us. And they went, let's think about it. Well, they didn't think a whole long time, and they didn't decide to sell it. They decided to live there, and they bought a lot. Lot 13 is theirs, almost across the street from me on lot 28. Okay. Now, why did I go to Kim and Gabrielle? Victor's a realtor. Well, Victor doesn't have the reputation that Kim and Gabrielle do, because nobody does. Nobody has their reputation. And I wanted only the best. I got the best DRO. I got the best urban developers. I got, well, I think an amazing lawyer, but I'm a little biased, but I think she's amazing. And I want the best. Now, if I would have put this open to Victor, and Victor would have called 10 of his realtor buddies, and they would have called 5 of their realtor buddies, we'd have been sold out by now. But I'm not in a hurry to sell this out. I want clients who want to be part of this. The ask is big. What I'm about to ask you is big, but so there's a certain level of trust. Now, Kim and Nancy are both sitting here, and they're kind of supporting this trust, but in the end, it's going to come down to you. I'll get there in a second. So if I put this out to other realtors, they're not going to say things right, and they're maybe going to overpromise and underdeliver, and I don't want any of that, because I want to live there, and I want to be able to look everyone who buys in there in the eye. I'm building a community, and I want to live there. The only way I would ever give up this view in this house is for something better. And to have a backyard with a swimming pool, with my 5 grandchildren, have actually a dog. We no longer have a dog because we don't feel comfortable having a dog in this suite, but we've always had a dog in Canada in our backyard. We've always had a dog. I want a dog. I want my grandchildren. I want my mom and dad to be able to have dinner with us. If we have dinner, we got to go downstairs to them. And it's just a small suite downstairs. I'm missing all of that. That's what I'm missing. That's the one thing left that could make our life in Mexico a little bit better, is to be together as a family in one level house with a backyard, and maybe even I mow the lawn. I know I'm almost aching to mow the lawn. I know that sounds corny, but I'm not normal. So that's that. Now a developer, what a developer would do, he'd come in and he'd do this. He might charge you something like 3,500 pesos per square meter. That's a really good price compared to the other lots. And then he'd ask you for 40% down. He'd ask you for 40% later, and he'd ask you for 20% at the end. That would be what Kim would recommend to you. That's what Nancy would recommend to you. They'd say, do that. What I'm saying is, I want your money now, all of it, because I'm paying off the lot, I'm paying the land, and I'm doing the urbanization at exactly the same time. So what I did is I took the money from my friends and family, and I said, okay, friends and family, you trust me? Yep, we trust you. Okay. Give me your money. We're going to give it to Nancy. We're going to hold it in trust until I have enough to buy 40% of the land. And I did. I now own 40% of the land. And with that, the owner of the land, who supports this idea entirely, said, okay, Nancy made a contract that I'm allowed to start selling, fractioning off the land and start selling it directly to each of you. I have that permission to do that. So by having that, I can start selling it directly to you, and I don't need the friends and family anymore. And that's where I need Kim to help me move forward to start bringing clients that want to be part of this and are not thinking it's something other than what it really is. And that's why I have Nancy here to make sure I'm saying what it is really is what it is. So I did that fast because I know time is, you know, we don't want to go on all night, but I want to tell you a little bit about a couple of people who've decided to come on board. Okay. I want you to Google the word at some point in time, Vidalito, V-I-D-A-L-I-T-O, Vidalito. Vidalito is the son of Camasa's first clients. We've been doing houses for 25 years. His parents have been, we've done a lot of projects for his parents. Vidalito is 23 years old. 5 years ago, he was in a terrible car accident, lost both of his legs. Vidalito got fitted for prosthetics, and his dream was to be a NASCAR driver. So your dream is out the window when you lose your legs. Well, if there's anyone in the world now that I know that's an inspiration, it's that young man, incredible young man. And recently, he signed a contract with a company not named Mercedes, and he's going to be on a NASCAR team. And you can Google him. He's got a lot of followers on Instagram, V-I-D-A-L-I-T-O. So Vidalito and his family are on board. Now, why am I bringing that up? Because Vidalito has currently a Mercedes, a really nice Mercedes. And now that he's got a sponsorship on a team, he has to get rid of that Mercedes. And he's asked Uncle Luis from Camasa, and then by default asked me to help get rid of this Mercedes. We're going to auction off that Mercedes, and the money for that Mercedes is going to buy Vidalito a lot in Vias Maple. He can no longer drive a Mercedes because he's got a contract with another company. Okay. So another person, well, besides my son, besides my best friend, Miles Bucknell, who's been my friend for 38 years and worked in the lumber mill in 100 Mile House all of his life, just took his retirement and has invested there. There's a very important doctor in the area, very important doctor who is in a very important hospital nearby, and is a very important doctor on a team of doctors for a very important family in Texas. We all know that name. So there's lots of cool people involved, including another good friend by the name of Norm Lockerbie from Norlock Refrigeration. Norm Lockerbie comes to me, and here's my idea, and he says, Andy, I'll buy the whole thing and we'll subdivide it. We'll make a bunch of money. And I said, no, Norm, please don't do the Norm thing. Norm's got lots of investments. He's been super successful. I said, Norm, this is an Andy thing, not a Norm thing. All right. So Norm says, well, sell me 4 lots.
I just want to know about the property, not this guy's background. This is the guy that's developing it.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Sorry? So Norm says, sell me 4 lots. I said, no, Norm, I don't want to sell you 4 lots because you only need 1 lot. I'll sell you 2 at the most. And he says, well, sell me 4 lots and I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll build 4 homes instantly and I'll make them show homes. Okay, we could do that. And he says, and I'm going to put in cutting edge technology in those homes, cutting edge technology regarding greenhouses, green, environmentally friendly, especially when it comes to the air conditioning. So now we're not going to pay such outrageous CFE bills. Some of it's going to be solar related and some of it's going to be geothermal where the ground does the work. So I said, well, Norm, I don't really understand all that. And I don't have to. He's tried to explain it to me several times, but let's tell you a little bit about Norm very quickly. Norm won the contract in 2002 to build the skating rink in Salt Lake City at the Olympics. So a Canadian guy built the skating rink in Salt Lake City for the Olympics. And what was so special about that? It was the first of its kind that had 0 emissions. So cutting edge guy, cutting edge technology, and he wants to bring some of that as just a support, as a good friend. He's going to bring that here to the show homes for any of us that may be interested in building in the future to take advantage of sort of a central air conditioning system, not get away from these air conditioners where we have the headers and the unit on the roof that's getting the sun, beating down on the sun. We're going to get away from all that, or make it an option to do some of those kinds of things. So that's some of the people that are in there. Maybe, hey, Kim, do we have a map?
Sorry, I'm gonna pull up the map right now. Hold on. I'm gonna show you the map of the location of the development. Can you guys see that?
There we go.
So Andy, do you want to kind of explain what we're looking at?
Sure. So, well, we got the palm tree over here, and the palm tree is over on the bottom right. That's kind of close to the port, okay? And if you just look to the left of the palm tree, you see Punta Rena in blue there, and everything to the right of the palm tree is where Kim lives, a beachside, okay? So you come down the yellow road, and you go a little bit towards Cancun, and you make a left-hand turn, and you start going through all the new subdivisions. You've got Palma Real, first of all. You got Puerto Marina. Vic lives in Puerto Marina right now. There's the El Faro, and then right next to the El Faro will be ours. What you don't see on that red dot there is just across the street from the red dot in that white space to the bottom of that is a new subdivision called Selva Escondidas. And then to the right of it, you've got the new ones, Quinta Moreta and Verdes del Puerto. Now, those two there in particular, on the right-hand side of the red dot, those two there are where a lot of my friends and family have been moving over to. I don't know, Kim, if you've got a lot of clients in there, but those two seem to be very popular. That whole area over there is going like crazy. There's all new streets down there, all new sidewalks down there, and a lot of new underground services are all coming to that area. So that's kind of cool. Interesting. And yes?
Sorry, this area is on sewer as well, yeah?
100%, yes. That's what made it interesting. When Victor took me to that piece of land, I'm pretty much standing on the sewer pipe. It says, you know, whatever, city of Puerto Morelos, and where the sewer, the water is right there. All I have to do is just connect it from where it exists across the street into my land. It's right there. And it made it so interesting because we don't need a water treatment plant like we have here in Punta Rena and Regatta. The one in Regatta, by the way, is giving us some problems, and we're all going to have to cough up some money. It's connected also with the CFE and the fiber optics, the cable, the Telemex is right down the road. It won't be difficult. Nothing's easy in this country, guys. You guys know that, right? Some of you have been here. Nothing's easy, but it's all doable. It's just down the road. Okay. One thing is, if you want to come to Mexico, you kind of almost want to have to be here because things aren't as easy and smooth as they are at home. It's just part of the ambiance, part of the charm. It's part of what it is. You have to be willing to work for, it's the tax you pay to be here. You have to be willing to try a little harder. Agreed, Kim?
Agreed. We talk about this a lot in Moving to Mexico Monday. I'm going to pull up the subdivision. And also I wanted to tell people that I put the Google Drive link into the chat box, which has the map and other documentation. Here we go with this. Can you all see that? Is it up?
Yes.
Anyone? Okay.
Yes.
Great. So I don't know if you want to just explain what your thought is behind this and what's happening on the front lots.
Sure, let's do that. So let's look at that first of all at the map. If you see the top of the map, you see the word Villas Maple, okay? At the top of that is actually the El Faro subdivision, okay? That whole length there is El Faro. Interestingly enough, there, the Villas Maple and the El Faro, there's a wedge of piece of land that if you look at the right-hand side and you go from right to left, that wedge goes from 6 meters wide, which is about 18 feet, to 1 meter wide, all the way at the far end of Villas Maple on the left side. So it's a narrow little slice of pie that goes all along behind Villas Maple, between Villas Maple and El Faro. Now, the building restrictions on these lots are you're not allowed to build on the first 5 meters of your lot. You're not allowed to build on the left or the right side of your lot. 1 meter. And you're not allowed to build at the back 3 meters. Those are the easements that you have to leave. 5 meters in the front, 1 on each side, 3 at the back. So if you take a look at that back row of lots, you have basically your 3 meters, anywhere from 6 to 1 meter of this pie shaped thing. And then you've got the El Faro, and I don't know what the restrictions were, if it were 1, 2, or 3 meters. So you're going to have a forest behind you of somewhere between 5 and 8, 9 meters, something like that. There's going to be what meters, so that's feet. So you're going to have 15 to 20 feet of solid trees. Now, if anybody knows this land, whew, it's like a jungle there. It's a real forest, big, tall trees. And it's going to be very interesting to see what the owners of these lots do as far as how many trees they cut, because there's some beautiful, it's not a typical 20-foot high jungle. There's some really beautiful trees there. So that's what's to the top. To the right of the picture you're looking at is the entrance. And to the left is lot 20 is north, lot 1 is lot, okay, you got that right, Paul. So to the right is Selva Escondidas, and to the left is it's just a jungle right now, but we're aware, because we have people who are privy to the overall urban development plan. On the left, eventually a road will come through just to the left of that red dot where the tennis court's going to go. And also where you see the word master plan at the bottom, there's going to be a road that goes behind that there too. It's not going to be a big main artery road. It's just going to be a small interior road. It's called Aricefi. So it's not going to be a big road. The one on the right and the left are going to be more substantial roads. Neither are highways, but they're more substantial roads. The one on the left is actually going to go all the way out to the highway. So you'll be able to go straight up to the highway from there, as I understand it. Okay. So then what we're looking at is we're looking at the first 2 lots on the right-hand side. The lot at the top of the right-hand side is been purchased by someone who's very involved in this project. Okay, someone who's making sure all the paperwork goes through, someone who's got 30 years of experience in developments and glued onto this in a heartbeat. He said, I'm in. And what he's the architect, he's a professional architect, and 2 of his sons are architects and are working for urban development inside of the urban development here in Puerto Morelos. So I think we have some inside, people there. Not that we have, I'm sure that they're going to help us get the paperwork through. Let's just say that. But he asked for that lot and he paid a pretty penny for it. But before I sold him that lot, I said, what are you going to do with that lot? And he says, I'm going to put up professional buildings. My office, my son's office, maybe a lawyer, notary, doctor, dentist, maybe a pharmacy, but it's going to be professional buildings. I said, okay. And we're in the process of drawing up a contract for that stipulation. Okay. The lot on the bottom is a commercial lot, and I'm the owner of that lot, and I'm going to be the owner of that lot, and that's going to be my piece of the pie of this whole development. The rest of the money is basically going back into the development. I own lot number 28. It's the 2 dots left of the yellow dot there. That yellow dot in the bottom row is lot 30. I'm 2 lots to the left of that, almost across the street from Kim and Gabrielle. And I bought that lot. And I paid $1 million pesos for it. It's a smaller lot, and it's plenty big enough for my family. And I paid $1 million pesos for it. I'm not, and I'll show you the things, because all the money is going back into the development. And well, we're pretty well funded right now, because as you can see, we've sold the vast majority of the lots. There are 15 left for sale out of 40, so I think we're doing pretty good. Now, what am I going to do with that lot? That's the question. That lot there is going to be a plaza. It's going to be, I have some experience in the restaurant business, and it's going to be a little Canada, America. It's going to be a little store where you can get some fine cold cuts, you can get some cheeses, you can get some of the things that we're missing down here, some of the flavors from home, some gravy mixes, maybe some good horseradish and cranberry sauce. And inside the restaurant, we're going to have some it's going to be like a neighborhood pub kind of thing, but not long hours, not a noisy place at all. And it's gonna, and that's why I'm controlling it. It's gonna be, you know, you ever get a rack of ribs? Has anybody been down here? You cannot get a rack of ribs with 8 or 10 bones on a rack of ribs, a baby back ribs, doesn't exist. It's also gonna have like a turkey dinner, and we're gonna have a couple of steaks on the menu and maybe some salmon, sausage and chicken, and that's it. It's just gonna be a real kind of a small menu with some flavors that we're missing from Canada. And I'm going to keep it that way. Now, I think, and I've already checked with Kim on this, she thinks it's going to do well because there's so many Canadians and Americans living in the area. It's not going to be only supported by the Vias Mapley 40 houses. That's not enough to run a restaurant. All around the area, there's so many expats, I hate to use that word, but people moving here or coming for the winter. There's a lot of them living in these subdivisions we just talked about. So I think our little restaurant idea is going to do well. Because if you spend any time here, you start missing it. The food here is amazing. I mean, there's so much good food, but there's a few things I don't get to have. And it's also just down the street. So on the left-hand side, the far left, we are going to, Norm, when he bought his 4 lots and he wants to build his 4 houses, he said, the only way I'll invest is if you put a tennis court in. And I said, well, the only way I'm putting a tennis court in is if you pay for it. And Norm says, all right, I'll pay a goddamn tennis court. Sorry for the language. So he bought a tennis, so he's going to do a tennis court. We're going to have a tennis court. We're going to have basketball. We're going to have pickleball, which is the new up and coming tennis for old people. It's going to be, we're going to have street hockey. I'm going to buy street hockey sticks and we're going to have handball. And I'm going to try and put a little mini putting course on the one in the island at the far end. There'll be a little mini putting course with AstroTurf. So those are going to be some cool amenities for when our kids and grandkids come, or our guests, or we want to go have a wine party when we're doing a putting thing. All of those amenities are going to be well stocked by the residential. All of the equipment is going to be kept down by the tennis court in independent lockers. There's going to be a tennis locker, a handball locker, a basketball locker, a golf locker, a hockey locker, whatever it's going to be. And every resident's going to get a key. And then we're going to do it that way. If things should fail, well, then we'll have to change the lock and give the key to the guard. So let's talk about the guards. Paul Colbert, are you still on this call? Is Paul still here? I'm not sure. I guess not.
I'm here, Andy.
Okay, buddy. So I haven't hit you with this. This is a cold call. You don't know what I'm about to say next, but and I'm not going to give too much away of your personal who you are. But let's just say he's got experience in policing. And I want something different again. I'm just a lateral thinker. I want really, really trained guards. I live in Punta Rena, and right now, Kim will tell you, Kim comes into Punta Rena almost daily. And sometimes she comes in 3 times. Pardon me?
I can't get in.
Yeah, she can't get in. Sometimes she can if she gets lucky and Jose's on, because Jose has been here forever. But if he's on, she gets in. Otherwise, it's a different guard every 3 days. Well, how does that make me feel safe? It doesn't. It absolutely doesn't make me feel safe. I want the guards to know our name. First of all, they need to be trained guards, really actually trained guards. We're going to actually have to pay them a proper salary, okay? And then they're going to be trained. And maybe someone like Paul could actually help train the guards. We're going to have cameras. We're going to have a wall all the way around. I'm going to give everybody a nice 8-foot wall. I'm paying for that with this money. I'm going to do everything I can, but we still need to have a trained guard. The guard shack is actually going to be glass 360 degrees, so they can look all the way down the street. When the pizza delivery guy says he's coming, and they can watch him go all the way to Kim's house and drop the pizza off and come back and not go somewhere else. Okay. So we're going to have, sorry.
Also, okay, so you mentioned the wall around and the security, it'll be secured access. Can
Yes.
you just talk a little bit about the boulevard in the middle and kind of the setbacks on that? Because it's a nice feature that other gated communities don't have.
Sure. Well, again, if you've been to Punta Rena, where I live, and I think it's great, and Regatta, I think they're great, but this is better. Okay. In Regatta here, if I want to go for a walk with my wife, which, believe it or not, we walk frequently. Right now it's too hot, but we walk frequently. We cannot walk on the sidewalk side by each. It's one behind the other, or we walk on the street. Luckily, there's not so much traffic. We just walk on the street because the sidewalk is just enough wide for one person. These sidewalks are going to be 7 feet wide. Okay. And you're going to have the road and beside the road, you're gonna have 1 meter, 3.5 feet. And at that meter is gonna be a strip of grass, and coming out of that strip of grass in front of everybody's house is gonna be a maple tree. Now, it might not be a Canadian maple, but it's gonna be a maple tree from Mexico that has a leaf that looks just like a maple leaf. I don't know if it's actually called a maple tree or not down here, but there's a tree that looks just like a maple leaf that will thrive, and we'll have a tree there, because everybody can have a palm tree. This is gonna be a maple tree. And then beside that, we'll have the sidewalk, and then we'll start your driveway. So we're gonna have a nice space. In the middle, we've got that boulevard there that you're looking at, and I believe that's, I don't wanna say anything wrong. I think it's 20 feet wide, that boulevard, that green area there. And so we've got the lanes on each side. So when you go from your front yard, you got your front yard, you got the sidewalk, then you got the 1 meter of boulevard, then you got the wide street, then you got the island, then you got the other wide street, and then you got the 1 meter again, and then you're not looking in your neighbor's window. You're just not. And that's privacy. You're not looking at anyone behind your house and on the side of your house. While you've got some privacy. Some. It's not, it's like it is in Canada. If I live on Maple Avenue in Canada, it's like it is. Mostly there's some privacy, a lot more than we have here. So yeah, I think it's a nice feature. And interestingly enough, this is something that you should all know. Underneath the word master plan there, there's some delineations of how the land was chopped up. 30% of that is a donation. We're obligated, every developer, and I'm using that word, but not really, every developer must give 30% of their land away. So our actual land goes farther to the left. Beside the tennis court, it goes farther than that, but we gave that away, and they counted the stuff in the middle as part of the giveaway, and then we gave some away at both the El Faro side and the street side of Arisafi. We gave a little away there. Again, we had an urban guy do all this up, so we kind of kept the best it could be, and that's why there's 6 lots in the middle on each side at only 575 meters, and the rest on the left and the right are the big lots. So you got the 7 lots on the right, and the 7 lots on the left are the 700-meter lots, and the 6 lots in the center on both sides of the street are the smaller lots. Okay, that's important to know. So where that yellow dot is at the bottom, that's one of the smaller lots, and then directly across from it, there's 2 more there, and one more to the right there. So those are the smaller lots in the center. That's the way the urban development guy cut the pie up. That would be the best. And I second that.
Andy, a couple of things. I was checking out the questions because I think this is a good time to ask since we're looking at the lot maps. You gave us the setbacks on the lot. And I think it should be clear to everyone now that you're selling land. You're not going to build a bunch of houses and sell houses. So a lot of people asked, are there predetermined homes that you have to choose from? And the answer to that is no. You can hire whoever you want to build. Andy's company builds, but there are certainly other builders, or you can do it yourself. Will you have, well, I guess one is, what is the percentage of the lot that can be covered? Is there a minimum or a maximum square footage requirements? So I guess that's the first question.
Okay, so first of all, let's be clear on that first point Kim made. We're a construction company, and that's basically, we think out of these 40 houses or 38 houses, we're probably going to get at least a third of them. So that already is another good investment for our company. We're going to build some houses. We have a full team, engineers and architects, and right now we're currently designing 6 houses already for 6 people who have bought, not named Norman. Norman's going to bring in his own construction company because he's going to do his houses lickety split. But we're designing some houses for people who are in there, and each house is a little bit different. It's completely up to you what you want to build and who you choose to build from. It's completely up to you. There are no strings attached to this. Hear me, there are no strings attached. Choose who you want. Now, as far as restrictions go, there are some, and it's important to know this. The urban development plan, which they call PDU here, but to me it would be UDP. The urban development plan is, we're zoned, and Kim has seen Yuzu de Escuelo. We're allowed to build a residential area, and we're allowed to have quite a bit of capacity of people living there. More than, well, when we get 40 lots sold, we're going to form an HOA, and we're going to vote to what some of the things we want to have. But right now we're allowed 60% build out on our land, 60%. So if you take 700 square meters and then you reduce it by 60 to 60%, and then you convert it to square feet, you're allowed a 4,500 square foot home on the bottom level, 4,500. So if you go 4,500 on the bottom and you go 4,500 on top and you go another 4,500 on top of that, you could have 13,000 square feet. And oh my God, that would be intimidating to live next to. I'm going to build a normal house there, probably going to be a couple thousand square feet or something like that. So I'm hoping the person next to me doesn't build a monster, and we're going to tighten that up. But right now you're allowed to build 60% of that land until we get in there and start changing the building codes. Okay. Minimum size, we'll have to talk about that too. Obviously you couldn't roll in your fifth wheel and just park it there and live there. That can't happen, because then we have to protect, each of us has to protect the property value of our neighbors. So I'm looking for people who want to build a house there or make an investment there and kind of make it their thing. It doesn't have to be immediate. Maybe you're not ready to retire now. Maybe you just want to own that piece of land and you're going to do it in 5 or 10 years. I don't know. There's no rules to this because it's your land. You get to do what you want. That's the beauty of this. It's not coming with a bunch of rules. So, but there are going to have to be some rules. We are going to have an HOA committee. I was kind of against it in the beginning because I just don't want to have the rules. But in the end, we are going to have it because we're going to have guards. We're going to have a gardener. We're going to have the amenities of the tennis and stuff like that. So we're going to have to make a contribution to that. If you're wondering what that's going to look like, I kind of think that if we all threw in $100, that would be $4,000 per month. And $4,000 currently converts to about 80,000 pesos. And I think 80,000 pesos would be a nice budget to pay our guards and our gardener and have a little bit go. 80,000 pesos is, well, back to $4,000. It's not a lot of money, but it should be able to comfortably pay our guards and our gardener. Somewhere in that area, 100 to maybe 150. I don't think it's going to get that high, but it's a little early to know exactly that number. But we don't have a lot of mutual costs. We just don't. We've got guards and a gardener and the amenities. And I'm putting in all the amenities are going to be paid for by me or my development, my team. And they're all going to be brand new. And then of course, we're going to have to replace the odd basketball or the odd hockey stick or the odd, at some point the tennis court's going to need resurfacing. But really, that's it. That's all we have in common. So it shouldn't cost us a lot. I'm hoping for a couple of things now, back to building a community. One, I'm hoping for someone like Paul or someone else on the team will actually help with the guards and training and maybe a little bit of supervising. I'm also hoping that maybe someone in this group will say, I'll be your administrator. I'll make sure we collect $100 a month and I'll make sure the guards get paid. And if we have a common, I don't want to pay an administrator to administrate our lousy 40 houses. If I have to, then I'm just going to do it myself with one of my own companies. I'll just do that because I don't want someone paid to look after our little piece of the pie. But maybe one of our residents who's retired would go, oh, I could do that. I would like that. That's what I'm hoping for, but it might not happen.
So Andy, let me stop you.
Yes.
There's a question about where you're doing your restaurant, and I think we need to make clear that it's outside of the community.
Absolutely.
It's not within the gates.
Yes. There is no way to get from the restaurant into the community. No way. If you want to go for a burger or a beer or whatever, you're going to go past the guards, out, around, and go to the restaurant. And then when you leave, you're going to go back through the gate and like that. Nobody's going to be able to get through there. It's going to be a wall at the back of the restaurant, and there's no way of going through it. It's going to be around. Okay. Has to be that way. And luckily I get to control that, and I'm going to control it. Otherwise, what's the point of having a wall and security guard if there's a back way? So no, won't be.
Mark is asking if there's a height restriction.
On the houses? Yeah, there is a height restriction, Mark, and that's a good question. Is this the Mark who sent a lot of questions?
Yes.
Yes, great. Well, Mark, I got to tell you, like a lot of people sent questions, but I got to say Mark's were right on point. So some of the best questions. So I'll go through them all. As anyone who wants to, drop off. But I'm going to take the questions until we're done questions if you want. Now,
Wait,
Mark,
let me just say one thing because Carrie's jumping off and she's asking about cost of construction. We're not really, I mean, because people are going to build with whoever they want to build with, we weren't really planning on discussing much of that, but I think in general, Andy, I think you would agree with me, it's around $100 per square foot of construction from the ground up. Is that
exactly
correct?
that.
Okay.
$100 a square foot from the ground up will get you a pretty darn nice house. You can economize a little at 90 and you
It
can
goes,
go
yeah.
110, but that's good enough.
Okay.
Thank you very much
So-
for that.
Yeah, and if you want to get in touch with him for more information, I can set that up as well. But
Happy to
just
answer.
generally, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good answer for general questions. So right now, Mark, the urban development plan has, well, there's a lot of controversy what's going on in Puerto Morelos right now. Some of you are familiar with the fives. Okay, and the fives kind of cheated on the height thing, and then there's a lot of stuff going on. And recently, the urban development plan passed a 9-meter or 9-story height level. And then the federal government got involved just in the last month, and they said, no. There was a lot of outcry, and it's back to the 5 meters or 5 stories. So if we follow that plan, we're allowed to go 5 stories. I'm hoping as a group, we vote that down and maybe put a 3-story limit on it. I really don't think if we have all that space, we need to go 5 stories, or we're going to end up with something in there that doesn't look like a house, looks more like a hotel or something like that. So that's my desired wish, but I don't get to make the law of Mexico. The law is the law. But Nancy, am I correct? If we make a condominium regime, can we control that?
Yes, Andy, you can. However, I mean, you might have, I mean, let's see, Puerto Morelos is now like a little town, but it's the same that happened with Playa del Carmen and Tulum. All of them started like a little town, but then suddenly, for example, in Tulum, now you see in the middle of nowhere, you could see a building of 5 or 6 floors. I mean, there's that might something that should be something, a provision that could be taken in consideration in your HOA rules, maybe, I think, which is something that can be validated. No, sometimes what happens is that the municipality, because this happens also here in Playa del Carmen, sometimes the owner could request the construction license from the municipality, and if the municipality, let's say 10 years from now, allows owners to build 5 stories house or condominium, well, they might give them the permission. The thing here is that we put this on our files that said that it is prohibited to build more than X number of stories, and also to notify the municipality that whether it's now or 5 years from now, this restriction will not change. Of course, unless also the HOA could be open that maybe in the future, a major quorum of owners could decide to increase those parameters. I mean, it's up to the HOA, that could happen. But as long as the developer gives these rules to the municipality should be aware that even though you have permission to build more stories, then the municipality need to respect what are the rules of this development.
Perfect. Nancy, while we got you on the air, then could I ask you another question? What happens to me if I mislead these people or if I build without a permission?
What did you, what, sorry? Can you speak slower?
Sure. If I mislead these people, if I'm telling something that's not true, or if I start construction without all the proper permits in place, what's the penalty to me?
To you, Andy, or to the company?
Well, to me, to the criminal code, what we talked about, what happens to me? Do I go to jail?
Well,
Is that what you
it's just
said?
that I don't understand the question right. I mean, I don't think you're making a specific question, but regarding the project, what you are doing now is putting all the permits together in terms of making this project be successful. And after you comply with the subdivision and the titles for these buyers, well, the buyers, it will be up to each buyer to, obviously they can, I'm sure you will help them, but it's going to be up to each buyer to request and obtain their own permissions to build their own houses. That will be their own. Obviously, your responsibility is to assure them that the density of this area allows them to build a kind of construction like you are saying.
Okay. So, and at this point, Nancy, since you've been listening, have I said anything that you feel uncomfortable with, that you feel like it's time to correct something I might have said?
No, I don't think so. It's just that I think your speech is more focused, obviously, on the project in the construction part of it. And I think that at some point, I don't know if today or later, as the people here wants, we can go over the process of the legal procedures for they to become the legal owners, and then to speak about more like, I mean, my speech is different than you know, it's you're talking about construction, the project, the distribution and all of that. And my speech is totally different than yours, no? I mean, it's the legal stuff. So, but, and I will be happy to share that with all the people here in case they want to hear now or later. I'll be happy to do either thing.
Thank you, Nancy. I think most of the questions that we received in writing and that I'm seeing in the chat are kind of more
General.
like on the ground, like when can we start building? When is this going to happen? Trying to understand the project, but I do think as people maybe decide to go further into it, they are going to have really more deeper questions for Nancy and myself.
Perfect. I agree with that. And I don't want to answer those questions because I don't want to get it wrong. I'm going to do the very best I can to get everybody to the doorstep, and then crossing the threshold is going to be each of you with people like Kim or with Nancy to get the answers to the questions you want. I want to make it very clear tonight that with the 15 lots, I think, that don't have dots on there, if you're at all interested, if there's 1% of you that's interested, all you do is you get a hold of Kim and say, we're interested, please hold lot number such and such for me. No obligation, no questions at all. And then from that point on, you start slowly getting comfortable. At some point you say, you know what, we're not comfortable. It's not for us. Take the dot off. We'll find somebody else for your dot. And until you become 100% comfortable, those are the dots. And that's all we do. It's a simple thing. That dot's on hold and we put your name on it until we take your name off, or until you send us the money and it's a permanent green dot, one or the other. And it's your time. We sold so many lots in the beginning that we're not anxious for the money right now. We're in a very, my friends and family support has been so spectacular that we just want to do this right. Okay. We just want to bring everybody along slowly and do it right. And I want the right people in here. The right people, I tell you who they are. It's people who want to be here, to invest here. Now for the future, or now for now? For me, it's now for now. The question about when can we start? The sooner the better. The sooner I can have my grandkids here, the sooner I can have a backyard. My mom and dad are 86 and 87 years old. There are only so many times more they're going to get to come down here. The sooner I can get in there, the sooner it's going to happen. And so it's all about me. It's been that way. The sales, the price has all been so we could sell it, so we can move it faster. It's all about that. And we're doing well. I'm way exceeded our expectations today. I don't know why, because there's nothing else like it. I should have saw that it was going to sell. And there's not going to be a Vias Mappley 2, at least at this point. I'm not a developer. This is something that I want. Now, I've had some people come up to me already that we should do this, and we should do that. And I got entertaining a group from Mexico City next week about something else, because they came to me but I'm not a developer and I'm not gonna start being a developer. This is what I want, where I wanna live.
Okay, let's
What else
go.
was there? What do you
Yeah,
got, Kim?
let's go through some of these questions because I think people are kind of dropping off and I want to get to them.
Yes,
Will there be streetlights? Do we have
yeah,
that?
street lights for sure, and almost assuredly they're gonna be solar powered. Either the solar is gonna come from I have a solar power company, and Norm is being in the solar panels and so the street light and a solar panel on top. Or if you saw our entrance gate, I don't know, Kim, if you got that entrance gate, we're gonna have a lot of solar panels on the top of that. And maybe we run a line to those solar panels and we power them that way. But I feel like that's gonna be a waste. Yes, street light,
Okay.
solar panels.
The services are all underground, that's yes, right?
100% underground, no doubt about it.
The perimeter wall, you said 8 meter or 8 feet? Is that
8
what-
feet, 2.5 meters, and that question has a second part to it. It is, will there be a wall between the lots? No, okay? I got my lot here, our son is here. Miles, my best buddy's here, our son is here, and his best buddy Danny are here. Those 4 lots, we're not even gonna have a back fence. They're gonna be open all the way. We're not even gonna have a fence. Maybe you're good buddies with your neighbor and you're gonna do something that you do back at home, and you might put a chain link fence with a gate in it. And maybe, just maybe, you want a wall, and that's gonna be up to you. Same with clearing the lot. Maybe you wanna clear cut the whole thing so you have all sun and no shade, and maybe you wanna leave as many trees as standing. That's up to you.
And it says, will the sites be cleared?
I just answered that. No.
Oh.
No, you're gonna clear your own site. And by the way, that is not expensive here. It's not like it is in Canada, United States. Your contractor does it for you. We do it for you, and we really don't charge. You want us to build a house? Okay, what's step 1? Oh, we need to make room for the house. We just clear it. It's not that hard, and it's not expensive.
Yeah, I had a guy the other day saying, oh, I don't want to buy this empty lot because I'll have to pay to clear it and it'll be like $5,000. I was like, it'll be like 1,000 pesos and you'll
Yeah.
have it done tomorrow. Like,
Exactly,
it just doesn't cost that much.
exactly.
Let's see, is there a topological survey available?
Yeah, good question. Nancy and I were just talking about that today. So what happens now, where we're at right now in Via's Maply is we're in a process called the MIA, M-I-A. It doesn't actually stand for missing in action, but I don't know what it stands for, but it's 3 components. I do know those 3 components. One was a drone. One was a guy named Pedro who walked the land and did some what do you call it, geological test. Cave underneath us. And the third guy was Simone, and he did part of it was like the flora and fauna. Those 3 guys put their 3 reports together, and that part, that's called the MIA. And that MIA is now in the process, and it's governed by something called SEMERNAT. And SEMERNAT is the governing body for environmental governing body. When I started this house here, Nancy said to me, Andy, do not cut 1 leaf on your property until you get the approval from SEMERNAT. And I've never forgot that. And you don't do anything in this town without permission from SEMERNAT, because Porto, as you know, is very well protected by the mangrove and the manglar. And so SEMERNAT has a lot of power. So yes, it is available or done. I'm not sure if it's available at this moment because it seems to be it's with urban development, but we could certainly make it available. We had to do it. It's step 1. What's next, Kim?
He says, are the lot and site boundaries already marked? No, because you can't go in yet, right? Yeah.
Correct. We can't even cut a leaf.
When will the roads be in? What's the proposed timeline?
Okay, that's good. So the proposed timeline is, and Nancy was working or has a meeting, I believe, scheduled for Wednesday with Pedro. The guy, is that correct, Nancy? Is that okay? And Pedro is going to give Nancy a timeline of the MIA where we're at. Now, we were told originally 60 to 90 days, and it's been 30 days already. So technically, we're looking at 30 to 60 more days. The minute we can cut a tree, we're going to plow a road up one side and down the other. That's step 1. And then we start with the services. The minute we can do that, we can start delineating the lots. Okay. So 30 to 60 days is when we should be able to start plowing a road in there. It's supposed to take 3 months. I don't know how many people have done anything here. Nothing takes what it's supposed to take. I'm saying 5. and I'm thinking spring, early 2022, we're in there building our houses, early 2022. That's it. I cannot get more specific than that. And I'm really begging you people not to hold me accountable to an exact date, because that's out of my control. And that's the one thing that Nancy's worried that I'm going to overcommit, because I'm straight up, man. I want to be there more than any of you, but I can't overcommit to exact dates because some of it's just out of our control. As much as we have people who are working with lots of experience doing this, it's just out of our control. But that's it. Two more months to before we can start cutting, 3 to 5 to make the road, and then we've got a lot for you. Okay. And
then do you have to have the road and the sidewalk all completed before people can go in and start doing their permitting process, or how does that? I've never done this, so I don't know.
No, I don't think so, Nancy. As soon as we can delineate the lot, they can start doing whatever they want to do. But I mean, they're going to be in the way. We're going to be building a sidewalk and a road, and we're going to be putting in CFE meters and services underground. But they can start their process because their paperwork will be in a state that could start their process. Have I got that right, Nancy?
Yes, I would think that the municipality is going to require the buyer's title in terms to give them the construction license. However, there are some exceptions that I've seen in this municipality here in Playa del Carmen, that you just have to show your contract and to show that you already were given possession, and they give you the permission. Because that's exactly what I've seen have happened in these developments in Puerto Morelos, for example, Punta Arena, Regatta, and all of that. People doesn't have title, and the municipality have gave them permission to build. So,
and I was one of those people. I was, all 4 of my houses were built before I got the title, all 4.
Yeah, it's a little crazy, but you can do that. I do recommend you get the title as soon as you can, though.
Agreed. And the best part about the deal that I have, can I say this? The deal that I have with the current owner of the land, I paid the 40%, and he's now given me the permission to fraction it off to each of you. And as soon as I pay him complete, I need 60 days, and he's going to give me the title. And after I have title, Nancy says 60 more days, and I can give you the title, which means in 120 days from after we pay him off, 120 days from after we pay him off, you could have a title. That's a whole year ahead of anybody else in Punta Arena Regatta, a whole year ahead of them.
Yeah, correct.
There was a question about sun exposure, but I'm going to send that to you personally. We can respond to that.
Okay.
Well, why don't we open it up for questions? Is that all right?
Sure.
Since we're an hour and a half in. Yeah, if you guys
I'm
have
sorry.
questions, do you want to unmute and ask them? Anyone? Come on.
Or what's the other says?
You know me, Kim, I always have questions.
Wait, go Lois. You're up.
Okay, so Andy, you said you paid the owner of the land 40%, I don't know, you paid him some amount.
Yes.
And after you pay him the rest, then 60 days later, you'll get title, and then you can start giving out the titles.
Correct.
What happens if, I mean, it's not a done deal until it's a done deal. What happens if this guy says, I changed my mind, I'm not selling it? I mean,
He can't. He has a binding contract. He can't change his mind. He can't change his
I
mind.
need to make a clarification about that. Know that the seller of the land already signed and transferred the property to the company, to the company that is making this development, okay? Last May 26, seller and buyer went before notary and signed an official transfer of title. The particularity of this title is that the seller is having reserving some rights to the land until he's paid off. Meaning that if Andy doesn't, if the company, the development doesn't pay him off, he could claim the recovery of his land. But in fact, the land doesn't belong to him anymore.
That's the first time I had that explained like that. And I think it's great. Okay, any other questions, Lois?
So Lois,
Yes?
if you decided to purchase a lot, Lois, we would, you know, we would hook you up with another attorney if you wanted and have that attorney look over everything for you, conduct a title search, could tell you what your risks are, if any. So that's certainly, we're not able to cover that all tonight. But
No.
if you decided to move, this is just the overview, the big, super big picture, and we could really get down to the nitty gritty with you. But I will tell you one thing, I would not be doing this if I didn't feel comfortable that it's not fraudulent. I don't think this is too risky. I mean, we're also doing it, and I had to ask a ton of, poor Andy has been through my emotional roller coaster of, oh my God. So I do always, you know me, I would tell you to get your own attorney always, no matter who's selling to you. If I were selling to you, I would say get your own attorney. So I do think you benefit from that, and I think that will give you more comfort. But yes, they couldn't have purchased it if the title wasn't clear. They've already signed 2 contracts with the notario. They've got all that done. It's filed in the public registry. This isn't a secret. It's not a secret deal. But I know it gave me pause when I said, what do you mean you didn't pay 100% for the property?
Yeah, okay.
What happens if you die? But it's not Andy, it's a company, it's not Andy. I mean, there's a corporation behind this, yeah.
Right, and it's well-funded, to be honest with you, and we're just making this project self-sustainable, and this project's paying for itself. That's what we wanted to do, and we're basically just sharing the wealth. I mean, those lot prices are, I think, so affordable, and we're just converting the money you pay into it, making it something. We're not turning it into a development where we're all getting rich. That I want to live there, and I don't want to be the one that's that rich bastard who all made a bunch of money off us. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy who helped build the community, and they go, oh, that's the guy who helped us build that. I know that sounds corny, but I won't feel comfortable if I'm the rich developer guy that's not going to feel cool at all.
So that explains why, I mean, because you could do it. You could make more money. You could sell these are big lots. You could sell it for a lot
Norm
more.
keeps, I bet you I got 3. Norm wants me to sell all the lots so he could make a bunch of money. Norm can make all the damn money he wants. This is an Andy thing. And Nancy, who knows me for all these years, knows I've done a lot of these kinds of things where I try. Yes, it's different. I'm out of the box, but I'm totally legit. I could make more money. Don't need more money. I need a nice yard.
I think that, sorry, if you don't mind, I just want to say something very fast because this is a kind of long meeting. So the point is, like, I think there's no much better thing than have a paper. So we're gonna have eventually everything in order to put everything for everyone on paper. That's in my mind how we trust in a process. We just can talk about like, this is something that I really like. So for real, the benefit here is like we're in because we're gonna pass for the process to get the paper to feel that everything is in order.
Absolutely.
We just want to open the window to being part of a nice opportunity of something that is very exceptional, seen from the point of view that the standard size of the other gated communities are offering you in a range of price. This is not a thing that is an oceanfront thing, but in our mind, it's a great opportunity to invest. That's a point.
Good point.
So just to conclude, my comment is like, yeah, I understand your worries. We need to put everything on paper, and that's the real part of the process, which is really makes really attractive.
Good point.
Yep, thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
Donna's asking an important question. Is it single family homes only? I hope the answer is yes.
Yeah. I sure want it to be single family homes. I don't exactly know what that definition is. Can you have an in-law suite? Can my mother-in-law come? And, you know, like, I don't know what that is. I don't want it to be an Airbnb kind of a situation. I'm not hoping for any kind of someone doing like 5 apartments and rent it all out. I hope that doesn't happen. We're going to put that in our HOA. Nancy's going to help me make sure. So HOA is what we call it back in Canada, I think United States. And then here they call it condominium regime. They equal the same thing. But I want it. And so we're going to use the word condominium regime because that's what it's going to be called. But yeah, it has to, we want to put some of those kinds of rules in there or we're going to have problems.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan. Mark is asking about back on the lot map, just to orient everybody. Let me pull it up really quick. On the top of the map, above lots 1 through 20, that is El Faro.
Correct.
Well, there's a pie-shaped lot in between the back of El Faro and Villas Maple, and then on the bottom of your screen, that's a road called Arrecife. Is that correct, Andy?
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, you just had it upside down.
Right.
El Faro's at the top.
El Faro's at the top, and that pie-shaped land is so. I tried to buy it because I wanted to create an entrance. I actually had a little bit of a different design. And the city won't sell it. And if they're not going to, they didn't try and sell it to me, they're not going to sell it. I mean, it's 6 meters wide. I mean, it was no use to anybody else except for me. At the very beginning, I could actually have a 6 meter extra wide. And I wanted it temporarily for a service entrance so that all the big trucks would go through there and through that one to do all the construction. I didn't really want them going up and down a brand new road. So that's a concern of mine is all the construction that's going to happen in the first couple of years with all the trucks. And I just put it in a brand new road. So I was kind of hoping to have a service entrance, but I couldn't get it. So yeah, that's definitely going to be a pie shape forever as far as I can tell.
Why do you have to give away some of the land? What do they do with the land you had to give away?
You know, I learned that. So a couple of things. It's just part of all the rules of construction down here. Don't know exactly why that rule is, but I learned a good thing from Nancy. I got to tell you this quickly, the story. Nancy said, Andy, when you move to Puerto Morelos, never cut a leaf until you get the Seminat permission. I told you guys that. So I went and I applied and they said, come back on Wednesday. And I went back on Wednesday and it wasn't ready. And they said, come back tomorrow. And I went on the next day and it wasn't ready. And they said, for sure, it would be ready on Monday. So on Monday I went and they changed offices over the weekend and they said, we moved to a new location. So I went to the new location and they said, oh yeah, it's ready, but it's somewhere in these pile of papers, but for sure you have it. So go ahead. Okay. So now that's breaking Nancy's rule, but I was told for sure I have it. So I went and cut trees here on this land and I was cutting for 2 hours and someone knocked on the door and said, hey, where's your paper? And I went, no, it's in your office. And they go, no, we need to see it here. And they closed me down. They stopped construction. I called Nancy and she goes, are you stupid? I told you not to do that. I said, well, but they told me I had it. So they fined me. Oh my God, I was terrified. And so they said, well, you cut this many trees. And I went, no, I didn't cut that many trees. Well, anything that's this big is called a tree here. So they said you got to pay this this amount of money, and I had to buy 130 trees. Whoa, my God, it's a small lot. So I went and I paid for 130 trees, which turned out to be around $200 US. And I had to go to a local nursery and I had to buy these trees and then they're delivered to the city hall and the city hall then plants them on our streets and sidewalks and parks. And I thought, well, I would have paid that damn fine anyway. I thought that's a great idea. And then Nancy says, well, it's the same thing in Canada because you do something called stumpage. Well, we do it a little differently. And after I thought, you know what, that's a cool thing. So now at the beginning, when you clear land, there is a fee. And supposedly all what I just said happens. I'm not sure that it always does, but that's the theory. And I love the theory.
All right, any other questions, guys? Paul? Nobody? Susan, David? Nobody?
Paul, are you good down there? I haven't heard a thing from you tonight.
Yeah, just letting you go, man. You're on a roll.
All right, thank you. Paul's
Can
become my
you say the
newest,
prices one last time? I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I'll drop them in here. It's 1 million for 573. Is that correct? Andy?
1,150,000 for the small lot, which is 573, 1,150,000. What does that convert to US dollars? 1 million is 50,000. About $57,000 for a small lot. And about 72 for a big lot. It's 1,450,000 for a small lot. And those prices are for all of Kim's people who are on the Monday night call list, even the ones who didn't attend but got the link. And those prices are forever prices for this group until you decide. But anybody else starting tomorrow, the prices are going up by 100,000. But that doesn't affect you guys, but I've already increased prices from our previous investors. And if you guys, any of you buy, the price is going up. This is actually a drop because when Kim came on board, she wanted to do friends and family pricing. And I said, okay, so we dropped it, but it's going up to the next group. Whatever comes out of this, it could be 1 lot, 3 lots, 10. I don't know what's going to come out of this, but the next group's going to pay more. And you have my word on that.
Andy, what are the dimensions real quick? I know you have them memorized, so.
Yes, I do. 17 meters by 42 meters or 14 meters by 42 meters. Okay. And that works out to 55 feet by 138 or 45 feet by 138.
Okay. And the setbacks are?
5 meters in the front, 1 meter on each side, 3 meters at the back.
Okay. I think we got it. All right, guys, send us your follow-up questions. I'm sure you'll have some. And the Google Drive link is above in the chat. Let me see if I can send it, post it again.
So I answered all of those questions on paper. I'm going to send that now to Kim, and then she can upload that too if she wants. All the FAQs that were sent. Anyone who sent a question in has been answered on paper, and I'll give that to Kim to upload to it. So and they should match the words I used tonight, I hope. I just want to say thank you to all of you for your time, for your interest at all, and to Kim for hosting this and for taking on this task. There's nobody else I wanted to have share this, nobody else that I have the same confidence in this town. Some people think Kim and I are competitors because of our two businesses. I don't think we're competitors, but if we are, she wins. She's the best realtor in town. Her and Gabrielle are the best. I've complimented her several times before we ever came along this. I also think Kim is the best ambassador for this town. She is the best on Facebook. She does the most to keep our community. Those are my real feelings, and I'm not afraid to say it. I have some lovely people in my company. I am proud of everyone in my company, but none of them are the same as Kim. They're all good in their own way. Kim is special in her way. That's my strong opinion. So
Thanks,
thank
Andy.
you all.
I'm
Thank you
blushing.
all.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. We're going to sign off. Let us know what your questions are. We're always available.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you.
Yeah,
so much.
thank you.
Nancy and Vic, thank you so much. Thanks, guys, for hanging in. I know it wasn't a slick, like super fancy thing, but we're not slick, super fancy people.
We're
So
not slick at
we
all.
just
Look at
wanted to
us.
get you the information.
All right.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bravo. Thank you, Andy.
See you.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
My
Nancy.
pleasure.
Bye, Susan and David. I know it's past